Yeah, let's talk.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Soft Talk Hard Truths podcast, where healing is quiet, honesty is gentle, and growth is, of course, non-negotiable. I am one half of this awesome team, Jay Coleman.
Yes, yes. And I
Yes,
am Shay, the
emphasis on
other half
phenomenal.
of this
All right,
phenomenal team, and
on
welcome.
phenomenal. Yes, go argue with your pappy.
Emphasis. Big.
Well,
Let's go.
some assholes are looking at me like, "Oh, y'all phenomenal." Yes,
Yeah, let's start
yes,
it.
humble too. Uh, but yeah, we gotta.
Yep.
But we got a
Oh,
I
I
think
love it.
pretty awesome episode in store for you guys. Serious episode, but hopefully one that we all can enjoy and hopefully learn and grow from. So, uh, without further ado, let's just hop into it. The theme for today is why some people get uncomfortable when you heal. If you've been here a while, you know that healing is one of our kind of pillars that we talk about because everybody, I believe, needs to heal in some way. Sometimes it's small, sometimes it's large, but healing is important. I'm glad to see it being made more of an emphasis in today's society. Still have a long way to go, but a lot of times what we don't talk about is kind of that other side where the results, I guess, or kind of what being on the other side of a healed person or someone who's healing is, and that can be uncomfortable because sometimes it means you might not deal with certain people or certain things either at all or not as much, and that can like I said, be uncomfortable. What do you say, Shay?
Yeah, I think that there's always a lot of uncomfortable people with the healing process, right? People, first of all, people that aren't going through it don't understand it, and they don't understand the things that it takes, right, for you to actually heal. And so it's sometimes looked at like you're being selfish, right? You'll hear all the time, you're different, you changed, right? So those are things you're going to hear right away. But the thing is, I mean, that's what healing is all about, right? There are going to be some aspects of you that are different. There are going to be some aspects of you, your everyday processes and communication even that change. You can't heal and stay the same at this, all at once, right? It's just not the way it works. I mean, unfortunately, and I think it's because of the things that people lose access to that makes it so bothersome for them. The aspects of you that they no longer have access to because sometimes it's just not
Yep,
there, right? Because those are maybe
yep.
were the things that were
You
detrimental to
said it
you,
right there. Access. I think that's
maybe
that's
benefit
that's a big
them.
thing. Being sometimes healing, or actually, I think oftentimes healing means restricting access, or in some cases, removing access for people. And it can be hard to take because you're essentially saying that if you're the person who is no longer having access or no longer having as much access, that can kind of feel like, hey, I'm the problem, or I'm part of the problem, or I'm toxic, or detrimental. Any of those kind of negative connotations, and yeah, sometimes that's the case. Sometimes that's the case. Yeah, even if it's not, sometimes you just need
Sometimes
to not
no.
have, or need to not um allow access to some people just because you need to be alone to heal. But yeah, it can definitely feel personal. It can feel like an attack, but I think it's important. to respect that. I think probably the worst thing someone can do is try to like fight and be like, no, I'm gonna stay, and like, well, that's just part of the problem. Like, like that doesn't really help. Um, I think we have to get
Right.
we have to understand access is a privilege, not a right, and that applies to everyone. Um, I'll say it again. That applies to everyone because that can
No
definitely
exceptions.
be hard with family or people that we
Yep.
consider family, people who are very, very close. Um, and as you get, closer, as those familiar ties get closer, it becomes a lot harder. So what I mean is that it's hard to cut off family, but it's probably harder to cut off a parent than it is a second cousin. Um, you know, so that's kind of what I mean. But it's sometimes it has to be done. Um, I'll be honest. It's something that I'm currently considering right now.
Those.
I have a one parent I have no contact with. Because I don't feel like that person will ever change, and every time we try to have a conversation, it's always about what they didn't do, or how they're the victim, and how their ex partners are always the ones to blame. I'm like, well, you picked them and and had several children with them. At no point did nothing. So just the inability to take accountability. Try saying that 5 times fast. Is Jesus. All the syllables right there.
Oh, that's funny.
But just that. Yeah, I got it. One take Drake, kid. That's how I do. You
Got
know,
it though.
but just that inability to do so. I was like, what,
Hmm.
I just don't. I chose at a young age to not deal with this person because I value my peace, and even if I couldn't explain it, I felt that's kind of what it was. Other parent, just a lot of chaos. Partly caused by bad luck. Bad luck happens. But partly caused by their actions. And it's that part that we have a problem acknowledging and doing things about. And you know, if you know, if you can take responsibility and accountability for your actions, and you got it, what can I say? Seems like a dumpster fire, but you're handling it, or at the minimum, you're not bringing anybody else into your chaos. Once other people are now involved, you kind of lose the right to complain about people judging you. You know, and that's kind of where we are. So, um, and it's hard because
Yep.
to your parents, and you're supposed to you know take care of your parents to the extent that you can. The problem is to the extent that you can is kind of the quiet part. We don't talk about that part, but that part needs to be in there because it's like you're not supposed to go broke
Right.
helping your parents. Yeah.
Right.
Yes, and like that's the part
That's the
that
most important part,
we
is to the
struggle with. And I
extent
don't
that
know
you
if it's
can.
just it's partly a societal thing, partly a generational thing, but that's kind of where I am, and I personally am going to have a lot of thinking to do in these coming months. But um, I've been talking for a while. What do you what do you think, Shay?
You know what though? The thing is, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you're saying, right? Because it's like it is very difficult to try to compartmentalize, you know, the priority that is you healing, which is something that is a necessity for you, right? And for your well being. mentally, physically, emotionally, right? It's extremely important if you need to heal that you prioritize that. But then on the same token, right, there's the other part of you, and that I guess it is, I think it is, some of it is generational. I agree with that too. And, it's just something that kind of society tells us, hey, you're supposed to look out for family. You're supposed to take care of family, especially parents and things. But sometimes those are the very people that are causing the issues that you need to heal from. So then, now you are have this complex situation, right? And it's, so what do you do? Do you stay loyal to, the notion that family comes first and family is important? Or do you acknowledge the fact that you have to sometimes have a little bit of selfishness to, for your own benefit, and for you to be able to be successful in your own life, right? And not from, not from a career standpoint or a financial standpoint, but just from your overall well-being, right? If you're not mentally and emotionally stable, I don't feel like you can be fully successful. That's how I've always felt. I feel like those things are very important. And that's what pushed me into a healing journey, learning that, hey, listen, sometimes family, parents included, there's no exceptions, right? Sometimes they're not always beneficial to your well being. It's just the way that it is. And I think because there is that family bond and that family history, that there's a sense of entitlement. You should be doing this for me. You should tolerate these things, right? I'm trying to be careful the words that I'm using, but that's kind of how I feel. I feel like it's like, well, almost, especially with parents, right? Well, I raised you, I brought you into this world, which I've heard a lot in my life. But I brought you here, kind of thing, and I took care of you and I raised you. So that means that in turn, you should tolerate whatever it is that comes with me. Like I tolerated everything that comes with you. And maybe that's not always the case, right? I mean, because now we're all grown. See, it's a different when somebody's a child and you're nurturing a child, but how much
Yeah,
obligation is
yeah,
there to nurture
exactly.
an adult?
It's funny because I've actually had similar conversations along those lines. I did like XYZ. And I just got tired of hearing it one day, and I'm like, I'm not the parent. Like I I'm not the parent, and that can be hard because you wanna or you don't want to feel like you're being disrespectful or ungrateful. But it's like kind of how you said, it's a difference. There's a young child and a parent, and then there's an adult child and a parent, and it's not the same. You know, only one of those cases is there like a child and an adult. And another one is two adults who theoretically should be able to or should have been able to kind of do the things they're supposed to do. And I've had to say, like I said, I'm not the parent. I get those are the things that you've done, but that's the job. That that that's the job. It's and I'm gonna sound selfish here, but that's a big reason why I'm not a
Right.
parent. Because I not because I don't understand what it's like, but because I well, I don't know what it's like to be a parent, but I understand that's the job. Like that's the job. Like
Right.
and
Right.
and
Yeah,
I like kids.
it is.
I'm good with kids, but I like being able to send them home. Yeah, I'm a type of person like I get tired of people.
That part.
Even
Yeah.
eventually, you can't do that with a 2-year-old. You can't do that with a newborn. Can't do it with a teenager. For the most part. Like, you can tell them to go somewhere. Um, but,
You can.
you know,
You can. The
yeah,
best part about them is most of
yeah, yeah.
them you don't have to tell that. That's what's
Oh, no,
great
no,
about
no,
the
no, no, fair
teenagers. You
enough.
don't have to.
But it's like,
They kind of go
I
somewhere
realize
on
that,
their
and it's like
own.
that. And I don't know if a lot of people like take the time to understand who they are as a person. I think it's just, you get your grades in middle school, get your grades in high school, go to college, get a great job, get married, have a family. Okay. Um, but there's a lot of things that go into there. Like you have to know who you are. Like not everyone is capable of having or of taking care of kids. Not everyone should. Like if you're a selfish person who only thinks about themselves, I don't know if having a child will necessarily change that. Um, it kind of worked for Tony and Girlfriends, but that's fiction. Okay, and let's not forget, for the first few months, she had a kid in a goddamn shoe closet. Um, so okay, like you gotta, like yeah, she did what she had to do for Morgan in the end, but it's like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know if that's the case for everyone. So that's why I chose not to have children. Um, also, like as I always say, I only have money for my toys. Um, and kids need toys, but kids need toys. But going back to my
Kids
situation,
need
I say
toys.
yeah, I'm not the parent. And like I can't I can't correct your mistakes. It's not on me to correct your mistakes. I can try to help to the extent that I can, but we're at a point where my financial future is now in jeopardy. And one of the things, I'm going to push back a little bit, where you were talking about financial, because I think financial healing, at least for me, is something that has to be looked at as well. There's, or rather, I want to kind of add it to the mix of like emotional, physical, spiritual, and yeah, there is some financial healing that has to take place, because sometimes, with all of the physical and emotional costs, there is a financial cost sometimes to taking care of or dealing with or correcting or rectifying issues. Um, you're I've we won't get into how much
I agree.
I've spent, but there's definitely a financial cost. Really just in general, I think, of taking care of older parents. Um, but especially when they have financial problems
Yeah,
because
that's
the
true.
cost doesn't go away. So you have to pay, but there's just this gap in financing that has to be
Right.
overcome. And who has to overcome it? You do. And yeah. So that if those
Right.
dollars are
And then
going
become
there, that means those dollars aren't going to where somewhere else where they could grow or benefit you down the line. And unfortunately, that doesn't stop until that
mhm.
that gets cut off. So I think there is definitely an element of financial healing that has to take place. Also because like therapy costs money, and you need some money for therapy. It does. There is some
Yeah,
there is some financial
you
cost, I
do.
think, to healing in general. Just doing things that help you actually heal, whether it's going to a retreat or buying something for yourself or taking a class. Um, it's just not having
Sure.
funds to do certain things. I think it closes a lot of those doors, or doors that you don't even think should be open. And it's just I don't want that to end up
Right.
the case for me or anybody. So there's definitely a lot of thinking that I will have to do these next few months. And like you said, it's definitely hard uh, with this family.
Yeah. Well, you know why? Because it's like people get used to the version of you that kind of quietly absorbs, the chaos, right? That is life. But when you start to heal, that version is now off the table, right? Because you realize that that is what has been detrimental to you. So it is very difficult. And especially, I am fortunate enough where I don't have the financial aspect of, with my parents, and I can't imagine, what it would be like. I do have it with my kids. you know I have a child that, there's at times there's a lot of financial aspects because, again, as you're getting older, right, you're making mistakes, you're doing silly things, you're making poor choices, right, for lack of for lack of a better term, right? Things that as you get older, your ass needs to know better than to be doing, right? And so I can understand it from that aspect, and so I do agree with you, right? You do have to get to a point where you start to consider those things. How much of taking on their burdens will financially affect you, right? And so there does have to be a cutoff point because you can't absorb all of someone else's problems and issues. No matter how much you love them, no matter how much you want to help them, you can't, because you're right. It will become detrimental to you at some point on a financial basis. So it is something that you definitely do have to take into consideration. Um, and it's hard.
Um,
It's hard because they are your loved ones. It's a parent, it's a child, right? And these are people, you know, that you almost feel indentured to, right? Because if it's your parent, it's, again, this is the person that brought me here. This is my mother. This is my father, right? If it's a child, this is the person you brought here, right? It's your son. It's your daughter. So I understand. Yeah, I can relate in that aspect when I think about it. Yeah, and it's rough. And they're hard choices, but they're
yeah,
choices, again,
that is exactly it.
that
Like
we have to make.
we have to make them. Um, and for me, and I think also kind of where this parent and I are different is I will make them. Like I will make the choice. Like I'm not the type of person I don't dig my head into the sand. Um, and it is one because we had a talk similar talk years ago. It's like you see an issue and instead of dealing with it, you just stuck your head to the sand. Problem doesn't go away. Only thing the only thing that changes is now your ass is exposed. It's like it's and these problems are whooping your ass because you've given them your ass a kick. Like think about it.
Oh
When
my
you duck your
gosh.
head to the sand, there's only one thing sticking out. Like
It,
I'm
that's
not that
it.
way. Like
Yep.
I I don't like problems. I don't seek them out. But it's like
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. Yes, I will make I have and I will continue
Right.
to make certain choices that are hard and that I do cause risk because the choice has to be made. Kicking the can down the road isn't one of the available options. Like eventually you will run out of road.
No.
And we're learning this now. It's like
Mm-hmm.
which good you're realizing that's the case. Bad because you're in your 70s. Realizing this. So we're pushing
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
limits of better late than never.
Yeah.
um, you know,
Yeah. 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 Uh-huh. Right up at that ceiling.
like I don't think that's what they had in mind when you said it. Okay, but you know, we here
Yeah.
now.
No.
So,
No.
we're here now. Uh,
Exactly. Here
Speaking
now.
of
Right? What else
like
can we
healing
do?
and mothers and stuff, are you aware of or have you seen kind of this video where a young woman wants to go no contact with her mother, but they live in the same house, and it's the mother's house. So basic, yeah. So basically, it would it's
Okay,
this
so
is the
that's
excuse
funny.
me. This would be the equivalent of your son or your daughter, um, no matter what age. But for reference, this woman is an adult. She's like in her 30s. But imagine your son, imagine your grown child comes to you
Okay.
and tells you that you got issues, whatever the issues are. I would like to go no contact with you, which means like don't talk to me at all. Um, but you and her live. Not only do you and her
Yeah.
live in the same
Nothing.
house, it's your house. How would how would you react to that
Mm.
as a parent, as a homeowner?
Hey, listen. So as a right, I was gonna say, so as a parent and a homeowner, I'm gonna say, listen, if we're at the point where we need to go no contact, that's cool. You know, I'm all for it, right? Because we have whatever issues we have. Um, just make sure you take your no contact ass out of here, right? Because you can't be in here and say that there's no contact because this is my house, right? And so we're gonna have to have some contact at some point. You can't be under my roof and we don't have any contact. Now, little caveat, I'm pretty cool with being in a house. I can be in a house and you might not even see me or talk to me all day, especially if you're an adult child, right? Because maybe we don't have all that much. Little kids are different, right? You know, my underage kids, so we got to have a little bit more contact. But I mean, we could do limited contact, but we can't do no contact and you be under my roof. That just doesn't work. Yeah, that doesn't work for me. And I'm just gonna venture to say, I mean, what makes you think that that's even a feasible option? Like, what makes you think you can be in
Oh, by the
someone's
way, she's
house
not paying your rent.
as an adult
I forgot that part. She's not paying your rent. Go
and
ahead. Go
say,
ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
"Oh no, well, yeah, so yeah, take your contact somewhere else." Then
Mhm.
that's how I feel about. You're not even paying the rent, so then you need to go, right? Because what issues do we really have that are that bad where you're saying that you don't want to have any contact, but I'm letting you live in my house as a 30 something year old person and you're not even paying any rent? So how how did we get here where you're talking about no contact? That's a problem for
Yeah,
me. Yeah, I'm going to say that's a problem for me.
I was with her
For sure.
until that part was revealed. This not even your house. Like you never and you ain't contributing. Like you
Nope.
you a guest.
Nope. Correct.
You're not even a tenant.
Correct. Somebody's doing you a favor.
Like, in your 30s.
Correct.
Okay, like
In your 30s. In your
and
30s.
like it's not that
No.
you want to go no contact. But yeah, like I don't know. Even me, like I don't like talking to people. I can go days without talking to somebody. But like you said, at some point, there's like if you're in the same space, it's damn near impossible to go no contact because you're gonna bump into each other in a hallway at some point. Like you're gonna be coming home and they're leaving out at some point.
Somewhere.
Like if something breaks, what's going on? You just not gonna say
Something.
shit until I
I
figure it out. Like
know what I'm saying. But my question is, did she give a backstory? Like how did you get to the point where you like what is the context behind you saying you want to go no contact? Because that's when you're in that situation. I'm just trying to figure out what exactly would be going on
that
that you would get there, and that you
that's the
feel
thing.
like it's
I haven't
okay
seen that part
to
because
propose.
the internet nuance doesn't exist on the internet. But yeah, like that's the part that we're all kind of wondering. And she, I mean, she explained it a little bit, but
Hmm.
like, you never get the full story. But yeah, like what I
Right.
don't know what possessed her to make that particular request. I don't know what possessed her to record that particular request and then post that particular request. Um, there's a lot of steps in there that I don't understand. But but yes, living,
Yeah.
that's where, like that part of the healing journey, I think need to like take the off ramp because you're going down the wrong road. Sometimes you go down the wrong road. It's okay, but you got to come on back. You know, use your internal, map quest. Shout out to
Yeah.
the map quest. Haven't used that in forever. To let you know how old I am. Um,
Sure.
map quest. Shout out to them. And just
Map quest. Yes.
recalibrate.
Yes.
But you can't be going no contact in other people's homes that you are a guest in and don't pay pay anybody for. Um, that's how we that's how you don't heal. I'll say that. Um, that's
Yeah. Well, how about if the circumstances
hey,
are so bad, move out. Or grown, you're in your 30s, right? And so if you are in an environment that you feel is that detrimental to you and your well-being, that you feel like you need to say, "Hey, I want to be in this space with you and have no contact," then just leave the space, right? Because that means that it's not a good place for you to be in. So the answer is not, I'm going to stay in your house and tell you I don't want any contact with you. Um, the answer is, you are extremely detrimental to me and you're causing me enough issues where I feel like you're not a safe space for me. So let me go someplace else where you're not,
yeah,
right? And then we can have absolutely no contact. That's
yeah,
fine.
and that's
I'll
a
leave and then
legitimate
we're
thing.
done.
Not you want to feel safe wherever you are, with whoever you're with. Like that's a real thing. And then yeah, this entire video, we you 100% if you add those four words, and I'm moving out like that. Like you ain't gotta change nothing else about that video. Just end it with that, and
Nope.
we're okay.
Nope. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm done with
See,
you and
kids,
I
as they
am moving
say,
out. And that's
sometimes
it.
is what you don't say. Yes, it is.
It is.
Because those four magic
It
words just changes that
is.
entire dynamic. Um, cause
Exactly. Because it's not that people identify with there being friction in between a parent and a child, right? We all know that these things are very much real, right? It's very realistic for you to have a mother or a father, a parent that you cannot coexist with. So there's no discussion about that. We understand, because there's some people that are like, I don't understand that. Well, that's you're not living in reality if you don't understand that those kinds of situations can take place. Because just because there's you're a parent and child doesn't mean that you share the same ideals, the same morals, the same just the same processes and how you deal with things. Sometimes those make it deal breakers, right? So we understand how you can get there, but it's like, if you're there and you're an adult, when you're a child, right? You can't do anything about that because you're a child, right? So you can't leave if you're 14, 15, because you can recognize these characteristics in your parents before you become an adult, right? We all know that kids are not dumb, right? Kids see things, feel things, know things. That's where you start to learn all these kinds of things as you start to get older, right? So, but you can't leave. You can't say, I'm 14, I'm leaving out of your house. I'm done with you. I'm leaving your house. It's not a thing, right? But when you're an adult, that's exactly what you can say, and that's exactly what you do. I'm leaving. I don't have to deal with you and your antics. I don't have to deal with the chaos, the drama, or whatever it is that is detrimental to you. If the person is emotionally detrimental to you. Whatever it is, you say, I'm an adult, I'm out of here.
Yep.
I'm not dealing with
Yeah,
it
it is.
anymore.
You can decide for the
It's the
most
beauty
part
of
who
being an
you interact
adult.
with and don't interact with. Beautiful thing. Wonderful
Correct.
thing.
The
You know,
wonderful thing.
you can highly selective,
You can become selective.
highly. Like you just say yes. Yes, like
Mhm.
boundaries. You begin to understand why they exist, why people need them, why they need to be enforced. Um, Speaking of which, it's you know interesting when you establish boundaries on your healing journey, people can kind of not kind of but do um, push back and say, I think you said it earlier, like you changed, or my favorite, you have an attitude because you have boundaries. You're accused of being well,
Oh yeah,
people say
yeah.
you're distant and cold. I've been accused of thinking like I'm superior, or I'm better than somebody. Like that's a new one for me. Um, yeah. And then obviously there's the feelings of rejection, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it's not you know all that is just like projection from others. But you can't let that deter you from your healing journey. Um, you can explain to the extent that it should and can be explained, but like I said, don't let that deter you from your healing journey. Um, yeah, I've been told I think I'm superior, um, because I've gotten less. I've always been a man of few words, but I don't like repeating myself. Um, on top of
Mm.
on top of not talking a lot, I definitely don't like saying the same shit over and over. Um, Particularly with adults, and
Exactly.
again, that's another reason why I'm not a parent. Because with a parent, it's by definition you're going to have to repeat yourself because that's how kids learn through repetition. There are going to be days where you say no, no, don't do that, don't do that. Like I get that. I shouldn't have to do that with an adult because you're not a kid. Um, I
Right,
for the most part don't mind
right,
explaining certain things. I understand in general. I've become better at explaining kind of why I do things, particularly when they affect other people. I tend to just look at a problem, create a strategy, and go. I don't always you know take the time to say, hey, this is the strategy. This is A, B, and C. Here's why. Here's what can go wrong. Here's how I've come up with an idea how to fix it. Oh, by the way, if you want to share some input, that'd be great. I have to work on that, and I am. But there are some times where, um, not that it doesn't matter what you think, but what you think ain't going to have no impact on this because you're not the one that's going to have to do it, be responsible for it, or pay for anything that goes wrong. So it's like, yes, it's a nice gesture
right,
to
right.
explain or ask for your input, but at the end of the day, it's not that it doesn't have anything to do with you, but you're not the one that has to deal with the backlash or anything if it goes wrong. But particularly when you ain't got no money. So
Right. Yeah. That part.
like I've been asked on certain things like, why come
Yeah.
you tell me how much this costs? Why? So you know how much money you're not paying? Like it doesn't like, it
Right.
doesn't make sense to me. But like, yeah, I've been saying, oh that's ego and I'm like and that's superiority. It's like no, it's just, you know, I'm not going I've seen how taking the time to explain and being patient and hoping that you do what I need you to do didn't work. So I'm just going to do this. Or
Right.
I'm going to stand back and
Yeah.
let this blow up in your face because sometimes that's the only way. Sometimes you have to experience the consequences of this piss poor decision, and sometimes that's what it is. It's a piss poor decision. It's not a
Yeah.
not a oopsie. It's
Absolutely.
not even a bad decision. It's a
Nope.
piss poor decision, and you know, kind of like I said before, like if you get into the habit or you make it kind of your job to be that safety net, they don't really, even if they know this went wrong, and that it is wrong, they don't necessarily feel the pain of having to be the one to fix it, and that's important, because
Right.
when you don't experience that pain, you think that
Yeah.
there is no pain to be experienced, and that's just not the case, and
Right.
it's definitely hard, watching your parents age. For you know for I guess transparency. Uh, one of my parents, her parents, by the time she was 21, both of them were dead. So she doesn't have the
Okay.
experience of watching a parent age and get older. I do. Um, but it's
Mm-hmm.
funny because it's
Mm-hmm.
talking about experience,
Mm-hmm.
experience trumps everything. What I think she means is my experience trumps everything because she has to have this experience. So she doesn't know what it's like to see
Right.
your parent one age because if we're fortunate all parents age, but also on top of that age with all this chaos and all of these issues going on at the same time. So it's bad. It's hard enough just not being able to
Right.
do things, not being able to be as independent as you once were. But now all these other financial, emotional, health problems, um, partly caused by you, happening at the same time. Uh, there are factors, and then having to
Yeah. They're all
rely
factors.
increasingly on your adult child, who, by the way, is kind of dealing with the fallout from things that you can't take on, and is kind of nonplussed about that. So, and is not shy about stating that he's nonplussed about that. Like, here's that. Like, don't you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, there's no need to sugarcoat that or hide that. But um, you know, particularly when there are things that pertain to like my area of expertise, things that that I know about. I've been in procurement pretty much since I was in undergrad. So like my entire career has been in procurement in some way. We're talking over 20 years. So so
Mm-hmm.
purchase orders, buying stuff, bidding, competition, contracts. I'm not a lawyer, but have a pretty good grasp of procurement law, contract law, because I need it. Um, at a minimum, I know how to buy shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that's if you know nothing else about what I do, I know how to buy shit.
Right.
That's at its
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
basic. I buy shit. I get that's important. Like more
And
transparency
that's
when
important.
COVID hit. I was working for a government agency. I was in charge of trying to find all the PPE and stuff. That everybody on the planet was trying to find. So yeah, so imagine being in charge of
Trying to find.
trying
Uh-huh.
buying gloves and sanitizer and masks for an entire city. And oh, by the way, you're in competition with every other city, every
Yeah.
other town, every other company, every other everything else in the world at the same time. And I got it done. I know how to buy shit.
Mm-hmm.
so 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 why is that important?
Yeah.
Because sometimes our parents, instead of
Yeah.
asking, go out and buy stuff, we have no concept of not just how much it costs, but is this the right
Right.
option? Does it work for this particular situation? Do we already have it?
That's
Not even
important.
do we need it. Do we have it
Do
already?
we really need it?
Do we do we have it
Yeah,
already?
because yeah.
Whether or not we need it, do we? Is it
Uh,
already in house?
yeah.
Yes.
Wow. That's even
Could
worse.
you have
That
taken a
makes it even
walk
worse. If you
upstairs
already have it, that's
and found and found it? Like those sorts
wow.
of things. So yeah.
Wow.
Um. So
Okay.
when it, like I said, when it comes to procurement, this is what I do. So you know, if I make a decision or I'm current about certain things as it relates to procurement or buying stuff, that's my area of expertise. It's not me being ego, not me having an ego. It's not me being dismissive. It's not me being, superior or whatever. It's this is literally my wheelhouse. Like you're in healthcare. Ain't shit I can
Mm-hmm.
tell you
Yeah.
about healthcare. Even though I worked in a hospital for 2 years, that I know how to buy stopcocks. Outside of like like I have a basic understanding of why saline is important and why things have, but they relate to, to
Yes.
to to the materials that I buy. I can't tell you nothing about patient care, and I'm not gonna do it. Like that's not my warehouse.
Right.
Like, that's your zone of
Right.
excellence. So like I don't appreciate when folks try to like tell me about my zone of excellence because I don't tell people about the zone of excellence. I don't tell her or tell him, how to do the job. I don't tell parents how to be a parent. I don't, and you know
Right.
I take that very seriously because people have a habit, particularly in the digital age and the age of podcasts, and everyone has a phone or a mic. Um, they feel emboldened, entitled to give their opinions on things that they have no fucking clue about. And it's like I have no, I have no clue about.
Yep. Yep. That's
I got a
what's
problem
going
with that.
on.
So I can't have a problem with
Mm-hmm.
that and do it. So I try not to do it. But I also don't have tolerance for people that do it to me. So I say all that to say, like in the particular case, we go back and forth
Yeah.
on buying things or wanting to buy things, and it's like, if nothing else, this is what I do. Like this is an area where you need to step back and fall back and let me do my job. And it can be hard to say, it can be hard
Yeah.
to enforce. Um, but it has to be done,
Mm-hmm.
and that also is part of healing because excuse me, because it's so hard. You know, we have this as children of our parents. We have this like initial thought to, nah, what? Maybe they do know what they're talking about. Maybe they know. I got 20 years of experience doing this thing, but yeah, you know, you know,
All right.
she's a parent. She
Your
has no
parent.
money in her account, but she's a
Uh-huh.
parent. hey, hey,
Mm-hmm.
what could go wrong? And,
Uh,
and it goes wrong. So it's like
yeah.
you have to, you know, you have to make that sort of decision, and like that is part of the healing process as well. It's sometimes it's just making um the right call for yourself because it's not just for
Yeah.
yourself. It's for everybody involved. Sometimes healing or being on a healing journey is making a decision that does save somebody from themselves. Um, because in doing that, you're saving yourself pain and grief and strife down the road.
Correct.
Um, and yeah, it doesn't look like that
Right.
always in real time. It can look like you're being an asshole in real time. It can look like you're being short and curt and all those things. And then maybe that's true. But you kind of have to have um, an eye on the future. Like you have to be able. I think being on any healing journey is keeping an eye uh, down the road to see where this journey is headed. Like like you you have to be able to see where things are going. It's not
Correct.
like it's not just here. Like you have to be able to kind of look down the road. Um, and that's something that you have to learn. I didn't learn
Sure.
it until like you think you're on the right path, and then something happens, and like, oh, I should probably see what happened. Take into account what can happen if I do this or do this. Um, what do you what are your thoughts on that?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I agree. I think that one of the hardest things, I guess, with healing is that it creates limits, point blank, right? So there's limits, and I think you're right. A lot of times people perceive some of the actions as cold or, you know, very standoffish or sometimes even mean. People, oh, you're mean. That's not the right way to handle this, or not the right way to do this or that. But sometimes you have to just make those hard decisions, and sometimes if you are the caregiver of someone, right? Parents or children or adult children or whomever it is, it makes it very difficult, especially when they're adults, right? Whether they're parents or they're adult children, because they are, in fact, adults. And so, everybody, when you're an adult, you feel like I'm an adult. I can do what I want to do. I should be able to make my own decisions. But if your decisions are going to be detrimental to both yourself and your caregiver in the future, right? Then perhaps those decisions need limits. Perhaps the person needs to say to you sometimes, so no, yeah, we can't do this, right? Or we're not, don't do this, don't do that. And it does, and I think that for me, what healing, I'm still working on. I'm not good at doing the explaining of everything that I say sometimes, right? Because I kind of feel like I've already said it once, right? And I'm pretty clear in the way that I communicate. So if I tell you, if I explain to you why I don't think this is a good idea, or why I'm not going to support you on this, or I'm not going to engage in whatever this activity is, right? I'm pretty clear up front. Um, I think that a lot of times that's all the explanation I'm willing to give you, right? Is whatever I said up front. That's that explanation. It might not be a long one, but it's clear. So if we have to circle back around to something, I'm pretty intolerant. I don't like repetition, whether it's in behavior or it's in conversation. I get irritated, and I've been trying to work on being a little bit better, I guess, at maybe the second time giving an explanation. Cause I'm really like one and done. We come back a second time, I don't want to talk about it again, right? I don't want to explain. I don't want to do those things, right? I want you to understand that we already talked about this, right? We already had a discussion up front about whatever it is, right? So what am I talking about? Like, why am I saying the same thing to you again? Or why would I go down that road with you again? Especially when I know it's going to be detrimental to one or both of us in the future. So that's kind of, and especially like speaking of areas of expertise, right? So, I mean, I work in healthcare, right? I've been in healthcare for 20 something years. This is all I've ever done, right? So I take care of people for a living. So if I'm telling you that doing whatever this is detrimental to your health, right? Or I'm telling you if you have a certain condition, you should take this medicine, and I'll explain to you why, right? I'll say, listen, so when this medicine is prescribed is for X, Y, and Z, or whatever test it is, or whatever it is in healthcare. I'll explain it to you, right? So now once I've given you that explanation, um, I'm not too keen on going back and keep going over the same thing over and over and over again. And I definitely don't want you giving me a whole bunch of pushback. What irks me more than anything is like, well, you'll have sometimes people say, well, my friend said they took this medicine or they did this and that, and it's, so I'm like, so now I feel like you're questioning me, right? Now I feel like, so I went through all that. You know how many years I went to school? Do you know that I get paid to do this every single day? You know how many patients I have that I take care of my patient panel? I think I have like 400 patients on my panel, right? All people that I'm responsible for their overall care and well-being, right? And so I'm like you, I'm very much intolerant to people giving me pushback on an area of expertise that, that you don't have. If you have a license, you just show it to me. I can show you mine. I can show you my license. I can show you all my degrees. I can show you any of the things, right? So I'm not just talking when I'm saying things to you, right? I'm not just talking. I'm not giving you opinions, right? I'm giving you evidence-based information. So that I can agree is like really frustrating, especially when it comes from like parents or family members. And sometimes they're the worst ones. Like the worst ones. Some are good, but the other
habitual line
ones you're just like,
steppers.
wow. And then they'll come back, and the thing is, I've had situations, I tell you something, you give me pushback. I'm like, okay, listen, so sure, whatever. Then you do what you do what you feel like is best for you. I'm very good for telling people that, right? Because once I explain it to you and you tell me you're going to do X, Y, and Z, that's okay. You don't have to take everything I say and execute it. That's all right. It's your life. You do what you want. But then I've had the same individuals come back to me and tell me exactly what I said and someone else told them, and now it's gospel. How does that work? How come when I said it, you had all this mouth and all this stuff to say, right? Right? It was a whole big old discussion when I said it. But then you come back to me and you say so, oh well, my friend said, or my friend said, her doctor said, do you know I'm the same person? Like, you're talking to the same person. What are you doing? Why? It's like I just it's almost like, okay, hey, sure, whatever. That's when I get into my, you like it, I love it. That's for you, have at it. Have at it. But I also keep it in the back of my head. I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna curtail, what I give you, because I feel like they're jewels, right? When somebody has an area of expertise and they share and impart that knowledge onto you for free, they're jewels. If you tell me something about purchasing, I'm going to be appreciative because that's not what I do. Right? And I'm not going to give you a whole bunch of pushback on it because I don't know anything about it. And I would hope that if I'm talking to you about something in healthcare, you're going to appreciate that I'm giving you things that, people forget we
Mhm.
get paid to do these things.
I feel like um, if you like it, I love it. It's like black people's way of saying, "Go ahead, you effing moron." Like, are you just a dumbass? I feel like that's. I feel like because I believe that at no time in the history of black folks has a black person said, "If you like it, I love it," and they in fact actually loved it. Um, Especially when the it in question
Not
is
one
some dumb
time.
shit. It's just like, yeah. Uh,
That
but
part.
I like how,
Yeah.
like, I like how we both ended up kind of in the same spot, but just from different. We came from different places because, you're not a fan of repeating yourself, but you'll it's because you've explained it. You probably explained yourself. I'm not a fan of repeating myself, but I also don't talk. So it's like, it's something that I have to work on. I have to work on actually explaining it at the beginning. But yeah, once I have explained it, um, I'm not too keen on repeating myself. But yeah, it's something that I definitely need to work on. Uh, but yeah, kind of how you said, like particularly when it's something that is in my wheelhouse, I find that just infuriating. Just, like I don't. There are a few things that I find more infuriating than like someone like thinking they know more than me in a particular area, um, not doing what I asked them, what I instructed, it not working out, and them coming, hat in hand or whatever, and it's like I been told you this wasn't going to work out. Um, like I don't think there are enough words to really convey like just how infuriating that is. And I'm a very low key person. It takes a lot for me to get upset. But it's
Yes.
like this is what I do.
Hmm.
Like this is all I've ever done. Um, anything having to do with procurement, anything having to do with like just managing money. That's what I what I do. What I went to school for. So it's like, yeah, like you're talking to me about this. Show me your degrees. Like, show me the classes that you took where you learn about this thing right here. Because I haven't.
Hmm.
Like, I don't hang
Correct.
them up because that's not my thing. But they
Yep.
here, they here, they around.
Yeah, they're around.
Oh,
Hmm. Don't judge me, but my degrees are still in the
yeah,
same packages that
same,
they came in the mail.
same.
But don't
Like
judge me.
only
But they,
only reason I know where my degrees are is because like the job that I have right now, you had to like take a picture of them and like show that you have. Like that's literally the only reason
right.
why I even know where they are because I need them for that. Other than that, I don't. Mm, all right. Uh, like, but like that don't mean I don't know my shit. Like, so it can definitely and definitely is infuriating. But um, what I've had to learn is I've had to learn to spend less time doing it because there is uh there's
Mm.
definitely an emotional toll and there's an energy toll, and I can't afford to keep paying it. Um, there's by less explaining, um, I realize that I have more. I'm more. I feel like more clear, more clarity. Because you're right. Sometimes you just have to let folks suffer the consequences of their actions. And you know, I think that kind of goes hand in hand with access or lack thereof. Like I'm not always going to be there to uh, offer an explanation, um, or a life jacket. Like, that I think that
Yep.
also is kind of what can set people off because it's like access comes in so many ways. Sometimes it's just access to you. Sometimes being able to come to you for anything. Sometimes just knowing that you'll be there, knowing that you'll be there with that safety net or that life jacket. And it's like, nah,
Right.
not not always. Because like you said, Shay, I told you. I not only did I tell you, I explained it to you, and you decided after that to do X Y Z, and like I cannot. It's not healthy or it's not safe for me to continue to kind of keep doing this song and dance with you. Like it costs too much time, money,
Absolutely.
effort, sanity, emotions, or all of that,
All right now.
and I ain't got it. Yeah, like I ain't got it. Because
Cumulative.
if I'm spinning it here, that means it's not somewhere else where it needs to be. You know. And that's something
Right.
that
Right.
I'm kind of learning now. It's not easy. Sometimes I do feel like, yo, um, sometimes I do feel like, yeah, I'm an asshole. Sometimes I do feel bad, but it's like I have to take a look at the entire situation and ask myself, okay, well, if I didn't do this, what would have happened? You know, would it have been something that
Right.
not only what would have happened, but like would it have been the second, third, 10th time it happened? And it's hard
Right.
because like you it up here, but sometimes here it's like like here it be messing you up. And
Yep. But you know what though? You know what though? You know what was something that was hard for me to learn? right off of that premise, less emotional availability doesn't
Yeah,
equate to less love. Yeah, and I had to realize that, because that was the thing between the head and the heart. It's like,
yeah.
it's rough.
I was. It's funny you mentioned that, because I was thinking, like, when you mentioned, like, being a caregiver, um, kind of one of the first things that came into my head was, like, care ain't always nice. You know, it ain't no,
Right,
it's not always nice, and
right,
I'm starting to feel like, you know care isn't always, like, it can't always be nice, like, not because not everything is nice. You know, correct.
life is not always
Sometimes you can ease a person along. Rather, sometimes you gotta change a bandage. Sometimes you gotta change a diaper. Like, one of those, not not nice. It's like,
right, right.
what it gotta be done. Okay, it's like, it is what it
Yeah,
is. Like, it's,
yep.
yeah. So, like,
All
the
facts.
the way that I interact, or that we interact, isn't always going to be nice. I'm not gonna. You don't have to be purposely abrasive or mean. Um, but yeah, sometimes you do need to be a little bit short, because sometimes there isn't time for
Sure.
an explanation. Sometimes you just need to do what the hell I said, and it's hard saying that to your parent, but sometimes you just need to do what I said, or no, I am not going to explain. Um, I've 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 had to get
Mm-hmm.
comfortable saying no. I am not going to explain. I need you to do this. And
Mm-hmm. You know what's funny about that? That when you saying that, when you are the adult child and you're the caregiver of the parent and you're saying those things, right? It can be hard for them to accept. But it's that same person when you were a child that implemented the same principles. It's
they
just they
don't
don't
like
like it
it.
when the shoe is on
They
the other
don't
foot.
like it. Why? Because I said so.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. Oh,
whooping your ass now.
how many times have right?
Hey,
Right? You gotta keep that same energy.
because I said so. Like, yes, if
Mm-hmm.
I'll explain, if there's time I can explain afterwards, but right now the building's on fire. I can't explain to you why we have to get out of here. I just need you. I need you to move your ass. I need you to haul ass.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yep.
like, or my favorite phrase, took ass. Let's go. Like, I need to tuck ass. Like, let's like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, because,
yeah.
like,
Oh,
yeah,
that is too
and the thing is,
funny.
like, sometimes it's not sometimes it's not the fact that they want an explanation. It's the timing. It's like, you want this shit, like right now. Like, there's a beam on
Yeah,
fire that's about to fall on us, and now's the time you want to have a conversation. Now you now you want to talk.
right, right. Now you want to talk.
Like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I feel you on
Okay, wall is
that.
crumbling
Uh-huh.
down
Uh-huh.
in a minute. We're on the first floor. These
This
5 floors coming down upon us. Now you want to have a conversation. You want to talk? What you want to talk about?
facts.
What do you mind?
Oh, that is
What do
too
you mind?
funny. Let's just
Yeah.
burn the hell
What do
out
you want to talk
so
about? Get
so
off
you
your
can
chest
get
now,
your talking.
because
What you want to
now is
talk
the
about?
perfect time. You could
I
have not
agree.
picked a
I
better time to
agree.
have this
Yeah.
this 5 hour discussion. Let's talk about it. What you want to talk about?
Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
that? Oh, nothing. That's like just some ash. Nothing critical. Just building someone down. What you want? What you want?
Yep.
Let's
Yep.
talk. Oh,
Yeah.
that that
That's so
that that rumbling.
cool.
Oh, that's just the earth
I ain't
kind of crumbling around us. What you want? What you want? Yeah, exactly.
what you want to talk about is more
Don't
important.
mind no. Oh, what that black stuff? That's just smoke. Perfectly fine. Yeah,
Yep.
it's
It's
all
just
right.
getting
It's
our
just it's
lungs.
seasoned
It's
air.
all
That's
right.
all it is.
Mm,
That's all it is. Good, it's good for you.
that's all. Yep.
What you want to talk
We have
about?
cooked lungs.
What you want? Let me get sweetie. Go ahead. Let's go ahead and talk. What you want? What you want? Like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what bothers me the
All
most. It's like,
true.
I need you to bring your ass. Like, like, let's
That's simple.
solve this issue,
Yeah.
and I will be happy to explain everything if he can just get out of the line of fire because there is a fire. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yep.
you are the one who probably set that fire. So, ah,
Ah.
ah, ah,
That reminds me of what was
coming to
that?
America.
Eddie Murphy, right? Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, you are the one who probably set that fire.
Yeah.
And again,
Mm-hmm.
once again, I am trying to remove two people from the situation instead of just the one. But I'm trying to remove two because I
Right.
personally believe that when you pull the pin on a grenade, you need to be there when it explodes. But I understand that if it explodes,
Right now.
everyone's going to get shrapnel. So I'm trying to bring you along, but you won't have to talk about something.
Right.
You won't talk. Um,
But you want to talk.
and I don't know what you want to talk about, but I do know that the one thing you don't want to talk about is this goddamn grenade that you just put the pin on. You don't want to talk about that. You don't want to talk about that. Oh no. It's the last thing you
Oh, we
want to talk
don't.
about.
That's the last thing you want to talk about. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Oh. You make my eyes tear more. My damn allergies have been killing me with my eyes right now. I'm laughing so hard. They're like tearing, tearing. Next thing you know, my makeup's gonna be running. I'm like, oh, she was looking a mess. You know how people get.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that was fun.
So
Yeah, that was good. That was good. But it's
it's
all
it's it's,
truth.
it's it is true. Like it's one of those things you gotta laugh to like keep from crying or getting frustrated because as and getting more personal here, as kind of frustrating as all this is, the things that I'm dealing with right now, you have to be able to find some humor in some of these things. Because I'm like, yeah, like this will make this. I always look at it like, no, this will make a funny ass story. If I can just get to the other side. This will be a funny ass story. But yeah, it's definitely frustrating. It and going back to access, it can be extremely difficult. Um, Cutting off that access. Like we talked about, cutting off and the actual or rather, how people feel about it, but to actually follow through with it and stand on business
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
like
gotta stay 10 toes
that
down on it.
is hard. Uh, and
Very much so.
it gets harder with like each boundary because it's I don't know if it's just one thing. Like it's probably like it's like multiple things. So it's like having to stand 10 toes deep on
Yeah.
multiple fronts. Because you know as soon as you like ease up on
Yeah.
one, you're like, yeah,
Like dominoes.
exactly. Yeah. So it's like you gotta like
Yeah. Yeah.
you gotta have like multiple walls up all the time, and you gotta guard all of them at the same time, but it has to be done. Because there's always someone that just they want the access, but they don't understand why access is being revoked or being restricted. They just want what they want. Kind of how you said
Right.
they're feeling entitled
Correct.
uh, to your time, energy,
Mm-hmm.
resources, what have you. And sometimes like
Whatever.
you have to let them know the answer is no. Um,
Yeah.
sometimes you can explain, sometimes sometimes you can't, sometimes you shouldn't. Like sometimes the act of explaining is something you have to stop. Because, and like I don't know if people understand that.
Uh,
Like sometimes, yeah, like sometimes you just
that's
have to make your move and do what you have to do and not explain because people think if I can get him to explain, I can get him to, I get my foot in the door. Um,
exactly.
it's
Exactly. Yep.
that's hard. Knowing when to do that and when not to do it. It's not like all these little things um that have potential to turn into bigger things like along the healing journey. Like it's not a straight road. It's not a smooth road. It's not like I don't want to.
No, it's not.
I, I I definitely don't want to deter anyone from like their healing journey, but there are some times when you feel like, is it is this like a road or is it a minefield? Like you take one step and boom, it's like you're back to square one. But it's just like you have to be cognizant and
Yes.
intentional um, about each step you take and kind of what each step means, what the implication is, kind of what the impact for you first of all, but for others, each step has you know a consequence or a set of consequences, and you just have to be aware of it to the extent that you can be. Obviously, you can't predict everything in the future, but um, you can't just be out here
Right.
free balling with your healing. It's just
No, you can't. You can't. Listen, you know what? The bottom line is healing is a journey, and I mean, journey it's in itself means a voyage, right? It means something that is long. It's a very long trip. That's what a journey is, right? I mean, so you should expect that it's a lengthy process. You should expect that it's not always a
yeah,
pretty thing, right? And most of all, it's not easy. It will never be easy. And I'm not so sure it's meant to be easy, right? Because most of the time, for your average person, if they encounter a situation um, and it's easy, they don't really learn, they don't really get the full benefit of whatever it was. Like that's like if somebody goes and buys something, right, that they shouldn't be buying, and you just be like, oh, okay, you know, yeah. It doesn't matter if you just spend all the money you have. Doesn't matter if your bank account is in the negative, right? It's like it's all right. Just go ahead and do it, right? But when you can say to them, you can import your knowledge and say, listen, so you know, this was a bad thing to do, right? Or beforehand, you're saying to them, so you shouldn't do X, Y, and Z, right? So and it's like, do you learn better if you If somebody always comes and bails you out, listen, it's okay if you don't have any money in your account. I'm gonna put some in there. So, how much did you really learn if you didn't have to struggle with the repercussions of your decision, or if it was easy for you to just do whatever it is that you're doing, right? I mean, I feel like there's a lot of things that it's more beneficial if you kind of do have to deal with the repercussions of whatever it is, right? And so that's what I respect about my healing journey. Because, like, listen, even when you're healing, you make bad choices somewhere in between. You know, you're not gonna just do everything perfect. Oh, I'm healing, so I don't have any flaws. Every decision I make is the right decision, right? You have problems with adhering to your boundaries at times, especially with certain people. That's what makes it hard. That's what makes it difficult. Sometimes you have a hard time just understanding how to heal, right? What you need to do for you to heal. So these are all the things that make it more of a difficult journey. And I think that's what makes it worth it in the long run. You learn about yourself, which is, I think, one of the most gratifying experiences that I've been having in my healing journey is just learning more about me, right? Me as a person, as an individual, and what I really need for me. Not just playing the roles, right? My assimilated roles in life. You know, oh, you're a mom, so you're supposed to be certain ways if you're a mom, right? If you're a parent, you're supposed to behave and do certain things. You're a nurse practitioner, so you should be this way, right? You know, you're a sister, so you should be that way. You know, all those, like, I feel like we assimilate into roles a lot instead of delving in and kind of looking inwards, right? You know, that introspect is important in life, but also in your
Yeah,
healing journey.
I like how you said that. You know, our different roles that we kind of take on, or that we, you know, are thrust upon us, or that we just, you know, assimilate into really without thinking about it. It's just kind of what we do. And like healing, kind of, you know, definitely involves, you know, just taking a look at those things and seeing, hey, does it work? Does it work for me? It might not work for me, and like that, and that's okay. You know, it there's
Mm-hmm.
9 billion people on the planet. I don't think, you know, these two roles gonna fit everybody. I'm 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 gonna go out on a limb and say they don't.
Right.
But you know, so trying to fit into their role sometimes causes a lot more damage than saying, hey, this ain't for me. Um, Other people might not
Exactly.
understand, other people might not agree with it, but it's not for me. Kind of one thing when I was, you know, as a younger adult, um, I always remember this, and it's partly the reason why I ultimately decided not to have kids. Like one good friends from high school, she was clear from like, I don't know, early 20s, she didn't want kids. Um, Not because she didn't like them, but because, you know, her thing was, um, I don't I don't want to I don't want to bring a black child into this world. Not this world. Um, if you are a person who is not black, you might not understand that. If you're a person who is black, you might not understand that. Like it's, you know, it always stuck with me because, like, yeah, you know, this world ain't for everybody. It ain't. But kind of beyond that, you know, obviously she got um backlash from, you know, family, friends, people who don't even freaking know her. But when you kind of pull back the layers, like kind of got to the source of it, particularly with women who were parents, you learned that the reason they had a problem with what she said was because they never considered that there is, like, not having a child was an option. Like they never considered that there is, you know, they could just be them. They could have a life without children. They could live and learn about themselves, you know. or just the possibilities that kind of could open up, good and bad, by not having a child. Uh, you just again go to school, go to
Right.
college, get a job, find a husband, get married, have kids. 2.3 kids, white picket fence, all like
Mm-hmm.
all of that. Maybe a dog, maybe a dog. Like you never
Right. Mm.
the 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 possibility of not having a child just never occurred to you. Um, and again,
Right.
I don't know to what extent this was the case with men. Men just like, oh, you're acting selfish and whatnot. But like because she asked, like she's like, what is it like? Why you why you have such a visceral reaction? And like after kind of just hammering down, that was the most common response that she got. And a lot of her friends who decided not to have children, that's the most common response that they got. Like literally, people said, I
Mm-hmm.
never thought that I didn't have to have kids. Like no. Now, and again,
Right.
I say for the women because men can be a bachelor their entire lives and no one bats an eye for some reason. But it's like okay, where are these kids coming from if men aren't if men are being bachelors? But um, like I said, part of healing is realizing, hey, maybe this role ain't for me. Doesn't mean it's bad for everyone. Just not my thing. For me, it's not my thing, and
Mm-hmm.
I have my reasons why. Some of them are selfish, but again, also selfishness isn't inherently a bad thing. Um, Sometimes you gotta be a little selfish.
Right.
sometimes I,
Yes.
sometimes you gotta be a little selfish. But it just wasn't for me, and I am standing. That's something that I'm standing, 10 toes deep on. Like I'm not going to be coerced or guilted into doing that. Um, because again, it ain't just me at that point. It's me and this child, and it's like no child deserves a parent who doesn't want to be a parent. like like I like having
Right.
a parent who didn't want to be a parent. But either has to play the part, basically pretend to be something that they're not, or or doesn't play the part and like makes it clear. Like I don't know which one is worse. I don't I don't know.
Yeah.
That's- but it's like those are the things we just don't consider. But it's real when that happens. Like everybody with a kid ain't the best parent out there. like some of them
They're
ain't
not.
even competent. They should like
Some people.
it's like but we just say, hey, they got a kid, they're on a job,
Yeah.
Yeah. I-
Yeah. Mm.
and how many? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah,
Being in
and it's like how
existence.
I'm
So.
curious. Well, and you can probably there are so many groups now, but just like mothers in particular, who are like, yeah, I never either I didn't know this was an option, or I didn't want a kid and I did it because of insert expectation here. Um, and it's hard.
Uh-huh.
Like they're all private groups for obvious reasons. People just don't understand. But now I'm I'm happy that they have a place to like express this, because that I think that part can at least start that healing journey, because like that requires some healing to to because yeah, because it's like
It
how do
does.
you like deal with that? Like I don't know. Like how do you deal with the fact that there was this option that you didn't know about, or you knew from however long you didn't want to take this route, but pressure or whatever forced you here, and now you're here. Um, and not only do you have to deal with this,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to be a parent. Like I can't imagine what that feels like.
Right.
But like there's some healing there. So again, all that to say, sometimes healing means understanding that you're not meant to play this role. This role isn't for you, and having to really stand firm on that because people try to force you to fit into these roles, either because they don't see a world where this role doesn't exist, or they just want, excuse me, they just expect you to fill this particular role. Um, I ain't I'm not having it,
Yeah.
but that's just me.
Everything's not for everyone. I feel like that in every situation. Everybody is, that's what makes the world, right? That's what makes us all different. I mean, if we were all the same, we'd be Stepford wives, everybody shouldn't do everything. Like, I mean, I feel like as a parent, I can tell you that I never I never considered the option of not being a parent. I never even thought that because what I saw growing up was like, the women grow up and they get married and they have children, and that's just kind of how life goes, right? And so when I was younger, it never even seemed to be like an option to not have children. But as a parent, I can say 100%, I can now understand the group of people out there that say, I don't want to have children. Because I feel like not everybody should be a parent, number one. And number two, I feel like it's okay that everybody does not want to be a parent. And the reason is obsolete for me. I doesn't matter. I feel like it's a choice, and just like you're free to have the choice to be a parent, I feel like you can also be free to make the choice to not be a parent without having to explain. I don't have to explain to people why I have children. So why should someone have to explain if they don't want to have children? It's just the freedom to live your life in the way that you want to. Do you want people to become parents and be like how you said, trying to assimilate into a role that they don't want to be in, or flat out just not playing the role properly? Right? I mean, so that's, to me, that's like the lesser of two evils. Do you really, is that what you want? Do you want to force people into having children to get to those kinds of scenarios? Or do you just want people to be able to live their life and be happy? And those who want to do whatever it is they want to do, no matter what it is in life. I don't think anything is a hard yes or a hard no for anything. There's lanes for everything. Some people, listen, I went to college, but I would never persecute someone who made the choice to not do that. If that's what you didn't want to do, then it's your life. However it turns out, the repercussions of that, good or bad, that's for you to live. Just like for me, however my life turns out because of the decisions that I've made, that's for me to deal with, not for you to judge. And that's why I don't judge other people. If there's some people that are very successful without ever going to school. Wonderful. And then there's some that aren't. There's some people that went to school and still didn't achieve the success that they were looking for. And then there's others who have. So I just feel like there's room for everybody to make every decision that it is that they want to make.
Facts. Okay, now I said it better myself. Ah, I think that sums it up perfectly. We need to let folks chart their own paths. Um, whatever those paths may be. Um, I'll just I'll just say to add to that, if there's anything to add to that, um, it's hard for I've seen that it's hard for others to kind of let other people live their lives, um, particularly family members or people who are close to us. It's just that
Mm-hmm.
it's easy for us. We can always say, yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
let folks make the decision, but for some reason, folks don't. They have a hard time uh, minding their own business, for lack of a better phrase. 'Cause that's kind of what it comes down to. Sometimes you need to mind your
Uh-huh.
fucking business. Yeah.
Exactly. That part.
Some
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it is none of your business. Um, it's not. And then it's like I I don't understand personally why that is difficult, but I've seen that is hard for people to understand. Like this ain't your business, ain't
It,
none of your concern. To just
yeah. Easy concept, frequently made difficult though. But it's a very easy concept.
yeah, like I said,
It
someone
is.
don't want to go to college, ain't your business. Like what is their plan?
It's not.
None of your business. Now, if they come and ask you for money, okay, all right, cool. But, offer a little bit of input. But outside of
Right.
that, none of your concern. I want to have 6 kids.
No,
Hey, I want to have 6 kids. If I ain't asking you to
yeah,
babysit or like money for formula, if I got it, hey, what is your concern? If I don't, yeah, long as
long as
I'm taking care of them, doing what I'm supposed to do. Hey, like
exactly.
who is it? I think Kiki Wyatt got like 10 or 11 kids. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm like,
does
okay,
have 10 kids.
hey, she, you
Yeah.
know, it's like I used to, and the thing, like I used to wonder, like, why do people have like 4, 5, 6 kids? But I'm like, you know what? Ain't none of my concern. Right? Who is it? Shaq got
Nope.
5 or 6. He's worth $500 million. What?
Yeah, he's got 5 or 6 people out there got a lot of kids, right? This is I mean, there are several Kiki's the one I think it's more prevalent amongst the men than the women. She's always stands out to
Mm,
people because she's a woman that has that many children. Because there's lots of men that have 8, 9, kids, right? And a lot of them we know because they're public figures. But I can't think of, I was trying to think as you were talking of another female that has, a good amount of kids. I can't think of one outside of her. I think that's why that spotlight is always on her as far as the children go. Because anytime I see her come up on social media, that's basically what people talk about. I mean, besides the fact that she can sing her face off, but so we have to say that, right? Have to acknowledge that she sings, right? That's a different type of
she's
singing.
she's
But
she's singing so good. She's singing people
yeah,
pants off, man. That's how. Yo, okay.
yeah, maybe that's
I think
that's
I
why she
think
got the
every time she got
kid.
them kids, she sing them draws right off multiple times.
That's right, right. Next thing you
Yep.
know, baby.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you're right about
Yeah,
that. Yeah, yeah. I
but
think
you're
it's
right.
none of
Like I
our
didn't
business.
didn't even consider that, but you're right. Like no one give a damn about how many kids Sean Kemp got and how many all these insert man here. In fact, we look at we joke about it. Like it's a joke.
The joke.
That's how prevalent it is. But yeah,
Yep.
let some woman have multiple kids, and God forbid multiple kids by multiple people. Yeah. Oh my God! Like
Oh my gosh. Now
oh
the
yeah.
judgment.
Well,
Insert the
maybe that's
judgment.
just what she wants. We I'm sure she has multiple fathers, but it's like why does she get um crap and Nick Cannon his ass like no one says anything about him, or again it's a joke.
Right. It's yeah. It's funny. Him. Lots of there's several of them, and they have multiple children's mothers. But that's that double standard thing that comes in between men and women, which often irks me. And not leaning. I'm a female, but it's not that I'm leaning more so towards like, oh, okay, well, you should be, less judgmental on the female. I just think in general, it's just like, so if it's okay for this side, why isn't it okay for this side? Just, regardless of what the gender is, right? If it's a joke and it's funny or it's a badge, right? If a man can have multiple children, then why is it if a woman has multiple children, she gets the side eye?
Yeah.
You know?
Very
Why
good
is
question.
that?
Very, very good question. We must have like an actual answer, not just because you're a woman. That seems to be a
Mm-hmm.
textbook response. Um,
Yes. It's different for women. This is when I bring up these kinds of things, that's a response that I've gotten often. Well, it's different if it's a woman.
mm,
I don't understand
my
that
my
response.
favorite is like when we talk about body count and whatnot, because eventually you'll get someone will say, well, women don't do this. Like women don't have sex casual or whatever. And my response is, okay, well, who are the men fucking? If because the math ain't mathing on that. Who
It sure isn't. It sure is.
who y'all fucking? Because
Exactly.
I know who I'm dealing with,
Somebody.
and it ain't dudes.
Exactly.
So who y'all
Right.
fucking? So is it something something y'all want to share, or maybe we just got some of them double standards? Hmm.
Mhm. That's a big
Yeah,
one too. And
because
it's
like
that.
that's the thing with double standards. Is like when you when you take them to their logical conclusion, it's not logical.
It's not logical at all. It's a badge if a man sleeps with a lot of women, but if a woman sleeps with a lot of men,
Yeah,
she's a whore.
that's why that. Yes, that's why I don't.
She's
That's why they
loose.
be hating on Meg Thee Stallion, and I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
All she want, listen.
No.
All she want to do, make music, work out, look hot, get bent over balcony. That's fine. That's fine. It works. It
It
works.
works. It works.
It works. We should all aspire to live that life. Period.
Period.
Period. Like what is the problem?
Yeah.
What is the
What is
problem
the
with
problem?
that? Okay, like and not and what it not just because she does, but because she's unapologetic about it. That's what like I think that's the
Right.
part that really irks people that she's not just her, but more and more women are becoming more unapologetic about life. I mean, like doing just in general, just forget just having sex, just living your life the way you want to live your
It's
life with
life.
with no input
Exactly.
about it and being unapologetic about it because people out here offering opinions and judgment, they ain't offering no goddamn money. Like you should do X, Y, and Z. Okay,
Facts.
are you financing your X, Y, and Z? No, then shut the fuck up.
Right. Exactly. Ain't
It
none of
ain't
you.
none of your business. You know, and I think
Nope.
and we're kind of in a place where like we're sort of changing, hopefully changing our for the better, but there's still some work to do. But that definitely goes, and kind of I guess it's kind of a a macro version of healing. It's shedding all these kind of outdated thoughts and feelings, um,
Right.
which is hard. If it's hard on a micro level, you can imagine how it is on macro, because now you're dealing with just society as a whole, trying to heal.
Right.
And people say, well, how is that healing? Well, it's healing in a sense because you have these outdated ideas and thoughts, um, that in this case typically only affect negatively, or rather that's not even that. It affects both sides negatively. Uh, we don't realize it. Like patriarchy affects both men and women, badly, because not only does it keeps women down or in their place, but it presents unrealistic expectations for guys. like,
Correct.
like
Correct.
we're supposed this is healing in real time. It's just healing in real
Yeah.
time. I like how you turned it into a therapy session. Well, it's cool. Um, yeah, patriarchy, it creates unrealistic expectations for guys, because we're supposed to be provider, we're supposed to make all this money, we're supposed to be XYZ, and we're supposed to do it with no emotion whatsoever. Like
Right.
okay, the emotion doesn't go anywhere. It exists. It just builds up.
It-
And so we're doing these things, and oh, by the way, making sure that we're keeping women in their place, as opposed to treating them like a human being, so that we can have, I don't know, a partner in this whole thing to kind of take that take that burden off of
Right.
us. Like, I'd rather have two incomes than one income. I don't know why the fuck that's so hard to to appreciate. Like,
Concept.
I don't get that bullshit. Okay. And then, let's not get started on if she make more than me. That I'm not a man. I don't give a shit. Only thing I care about is now my presence better be awesome. Okay.
Right.
I don't hear about why I couldn't afford it. What? Listen, Bert,
Put
listen. My
it.
birthday, Jesus' birthday. I want some presents, woman. Hey.
I know that's right.
Okay. Look, it. I laugh, but it took a while to get here. It's not anything drastic. It's just sitting back and thinking and looking at the world. I mean, like, that don't make no sense. And it's like,
Right.
it just doesn't make any sense. And it's like, oh, all of y'all been saying this for the last 1,000 years. Yeah,
Yeah. It's tied to
yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
yeah.
It's
It's
dumb.
dumb.
It's dumb. It's like,
Yeah.
wait a minute.
Yeah.
I don't have to work this fucking hard just to exist. I can have a whole person here to
Yeah.
help me and inspire me and, and make money.
Right.
Like, I can
Right.
really, I can actually have someone to be vulnerable with. I can be vulnerable and not be looked at a certain way, and that's healthy. And like, my blood pressure doesn't go
Yeah.
up. Oh my god. But it's
Yeah.
just like that. Yeah, like that. That is part of the healing that I think we all need to do. But I don't know. I don't know. I think we'll get there. I just don't know how long it will take for us to get there. Because the men folk are very stubborn, Shay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, slowly but surely you're seeing like the norms in society that were prevalent when we were growing up and things. Those things seem to be going more so by the wayside, for the men and the women. I think the men definitely that it's getting easier for them to some of them to recognize all the points you just made. And even for women to get out of that box of like, oh, you're supposed to grow up, you're supposed to get married, you're supposed to be a mom, your husband takes care of you, you don't have to work, you just stay home with kids. And it's like, well, so, and there's a lot more women now even that have broken out of that norm, right? Where it's like, yeah, so no, because again, from a female standpoint, two incomes are better than one. Why would I want to sit at home all day and have my husband making all the money and I got everything I want or what I want to do? I got to rely on him.
Oh,
No. When I can go out and make my own money, right? And we can come together on things, make things easier, make it where we can do more things, have more things, right? Which is what we're kind of always striving for, right? Take less pressure for him to be able to live his life every day, right? So take some of that pressure off of him. And that's to me like what being a partner is. I think that that's always been the thing I've had problems with, like, where society is dictated, like, okay, the man has to play this role, the woman has to play this role. But I mean, really, if you think about a partnership, I mean, a partnership is supposed to be two people working together, not one person carrying more of the weight than the other on either side, right? So if you come together, it's easier, right? Which is, well, I would much rather have an easier time in my life and my everyday wantings and what I'm doing and how we're executing our family life than to be having stress or feeling like we could be doing better, or if only this or if only that. But how you eliminate those things is you be an equal
It,
partner.
hit it on the head. Like it makes things so much easier, and that's something that I had to learn. Um, and that's still learning. I for the longest time it was just like my career that it was number one because it had to be number one. Everything else was secondary, and I was like, cool. You can end up with a great career by yourself, and not by yourself in the way that you want to be by yourself. You know,
Right.
but you're right. Like it's once I kind of looked and saw like, oh no, it ain't like I don't gotta have this particular worldview. Yeah, it should become so much easier. It's like I don't. I personally don't. That's why I don't care. But like, there's room for both. Like there's room for both people and their dreams and their aspirations. Um, my hustle ain't gonna stop. My ambition ain't gonna dim. My life's not gonna dim. By letting someone else shine, and I find that I'm actually you know I'm more able and more. I actually want to like pour into that person and like build her and hype her up. And doesn't hurt what I got going on in the slightest. And you're right, it's just
No.
so much easier. Like just the day-to-day things is easier. Like we can get we can order DoorDashes. We ain't gotta worry about it. Like it's like
Exactly.
when I was like DoorDash is fucking
Yeah.
expensive. It adds up. Now you end up
Yes.
paying basically twice the money for a meal, but now you got two people working. It's cool. It's like just those little
Right.
things, you know, little
Little
things. Like
thing.
both of
Yeah.
y'all take on duties in cleaning the house. But you know what? If y'all don't feel like it, if y'all of means, go ahead and hire a maid. Because you know what? You say
Exactly.
it. You say it's her job. Well, jobs pay. See, we aha, aha.
Uh-huh.
You gotta be careful. We, fellas, we gotta be careful when we throw that word around. Listen,
Mm-hmm.
listen to your Uncle Jay. We gotta be careful throwing the word job around. 'Cause jobs pay. If if it
They
don't
sure
pay,
do.
it's an internship or it's a volunteer. So okay, that's an internship or that's volunteering. Um,
Yes.
I don't know any woman that volunteers just going to volunteer years of her life to be a maid and to be a caregiver and to do all that for no money. Like there's and if you're still fighting this to say it is your job, there is an entire industries really for everything that you expect a person to do. Like there are chefs.
Yes.
There's childcare industry. There's house cleaning. Like
Yes.
these are
Yes.
industries where people, all of them,
All
where
of them.
people get what paid. Some of them you need.
Yes.
Some of them you have to go
Because
to school for. Some of them you got to be licensed for. So like there's actual investment in these things, but you want her to do it for free. Okay. Okay. I rather have someone, I guess, like you said, making two incomes, and we can be able to afford someone to come and clean the house because it's neither of our jobs. Well, it's both of our jobs rather. But I don't feel like doing it today. You don't feel like doing it today. I'm not going back to 1955 on this. Let's just call it Mighty Maids and get it done.
exactly. Exactly. Let's just get somebody to come in and do it. That's the benefit of having somebody, who is equally
Yeah.
successful.
And like I said, like someone I I don't know. I find when you stop caring about things that aren't worth caring about, life is a lot easier. Like I said before, my ego ain't gonna take a hit because someone out there making more money than me, particularly if she's in the industry where people get paid. Like you're the doctor, but you don't expect. No, you're the surgeon, but you don't expect her to be making money.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Your, your wife
Right?
owns her own law firm, but you don't expect her to be making more money than you. And you're like
Right.
you're a director of procurement. She owns her own goddamn firm, and she specializes in a particular type of law that in the industry that makes money. But yeah, she's supposed to make more money than you. Okay, okay,
Sense.
all right.
Yeah.
It's
None of
just like no, that's
nope.
an extreme. That's an extremism. But just you didn't you didn't go to college, so she went to college. She has a couple of degrees. She has a job that pays more. You didn't go to college for whatever reason. Um, and you're just in a job where the pay scale is what it is because of a lack of a degree that exists. I my
Mm-hmm.
I have a parent doesn't have a degree, and because of that, there are certain jobs they can't take, or even if they take it, the pay scale isn't there. It's not realistic for
Correct.
you to expect this person is like, no, I gotta take less money so my man is insecure. Like, no, that's not how it's not the way the world works.
No, that's not. When you think about it, it's like, how did these even become societal norms? Like, where, like, where did the whole thought process come from? Even from years ago, it's like, that's again going back to the generational thing where it's like making things more difficult than they really need to be. It's like if you thought about that, if that was something that was thought about years ago, a lot of things would have been different for a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people. Like where did the thought process that this is how these things should be come from? And that's why there's so many people that come from that struggle.
Yeah. I mean, we can definitely get into it in another episode, but it unfortunately it goes. It probably goes back to the beginning of mankind. Like I don't know. I just feel because
Yeah.
like the women being second class citizens, it
Mm.
transcends nations, it transcends nationalities, it transcends generations, transcends religions. like I don't,
Yep.
I with some exceptions, like you can go back thousands of years, and there's like some form of it. Um,
Right.
it particularly sucks when they try to tie it to a higher power.
Mm.
You know, you know.
Mm.
But again, another
Mm.
topic for another episode.
Yeah,
Yeah,
boy.
God, made the heavens and the earth, but one thing he doesn't want is a woman in charge. All right, that's the red line. Got it. Um, got it. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. That
Yeah.
that that's
Wow.
that's where he decided to draw a line on that particular case. All right, slick. Um, but yeah, just I don't know. I don't know. I do wonder if there is like evidence where when women are in charge of society, country, whatever, how things are, as opposed to
Mm,
when women are held back. Um, so I do
yeah.
wonder. And again, I don't know how many examples of it there are because of how we are, but I do wonder
Right.
in those cases like how those societies turned out. I can say with probably 110,000% accuracy that there were no world wars. Um,
Mm,
I'll
mm.
just I'll just throw that out there. Yeah, I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say there were no world wars, there were no crusades, there were no atomic weapons. But hey, uh,
Ah,
yeah. Hey, here's a quick question before you wrap up. Have you noticed that all the bullets and the missiles kind of are shaped, little like penises? Yeah, keep that in mind. I wonder why.
wow. Wow.
Wonder why. Wonder why. Just
Oh, wow.
yeah. Next time you're cruising on the interweb, take a look at like bullets and missiles and just see. Don't they look a little phallic to you? Just
I
look.
never thought about that until now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Mm.
aerodynamic. Yeah, sure it is. Okay. Um, but like I said, another topic for another day.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Shoot, you think
Something
about that?
I am. I'm really thinking about that because until you said that, I have never in my life even thought about that.
Yeah.
But now I'll never
Yep.
forget it.
Never look at a missile the same way again.
Yep. Because yeah, but you're right. Wow.
Um,
Hmm.
again, it's just it's interesting the things that we men come up with and why we come up with them. Um, not to say that women can or don't. It's just I don't know. You don't see a lot of these things from the fairer sex. Like I don't know if like if women were in charge, I don't know if we would get like the flamethrower. Like like because again, someone said, "Hey, look at those, those people over there. I would really like to throw fire on them, but I'm too far away to get the job done. Let me go
Yeah.
talk to my guy who's good with tools."
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't I don't know if, if we get that if we were in charge. I don't know because I just
You about that
yeah I
one.
just I don't know where in the life of the average person you would need this thing. I don't
Yeah.
I don't know in an average conflict when you would when you would need this thing. I'm trying to think of a time like at my angriest, the angriest I've ever been. I've never once thought I would like to throw fire on this person, but I am too far away to get the job done.
Right.
let me kill my homeboy who's good with tools. Like I've never thought,
Yeah.
thought of this. Never even occurred to me. I've thought I want to stop. I've thought I
Yeah.
really want to stop the shit out of this person, but I've never thought I would just I want to set him on fire from 50 feet away.
Yeah.
Never thought of that.
Yeah. Wild
It
concept.
is. I don't know. I don't know what it has to do with healing. Maybe because I'm so healed that it never has occurred to me. I'll say that. It's like because you got to be a pretty unhealed motherfucker to think of that. I'll say
Boy,
that.
for sure.
uh,
Because it's wild. It's wild.
it is. It's wild. Like the things that we come up with. and why we come up with them.
Now you're gonna make me go look up the flamethrower, right? And I want to know who invented it, right? I want to know the person behind it now.
I'm just like, why do we need this? Why?
Yeah, because I want to know who the person. Like, I gotta see about their character, right? I want to know who they were.
Who? Yes. Like what?
Yes,
What was going on in your life that you felt
yeah,
that this had to happen?
yeah. Now I'm interested.
Like what were you setting on fire? And you realized that at this distance it was too hard. You needed a solution.
Yeah,
Like not you
yeah.
needed a solution. Not only did you need a solution, but you thought it was a problem in the first place.
I was gonna say it's what the problem
Problem
existed.
existed.
How did you identify that as a problem?
No, seriously. Like just
Yeah,
the things that we come up with are interest are just crazy. Like I get like the submarine. I get you want hey, we need something to explore, deep sea.
right.
Sure. Um like I don't it's just I don't get sea mines. Like I don't know why you need them. Um
Yeah,
I'm gonna create this big ass bomb and just put it in the ocean and God help whoever happens to be coming along.
yep.
I know. By the way, I'm gonna forget about it, and just have this thing floating around the fucking ocean for years at a time. And
They said, yep. It's just gonna be in there.
hey,
Yeah,
if you need it, hey,
yeah.
you won. You know,
Yep,
like
yep.
it's just
Mm-hmm.
again, it's just the things that men in particular have come up with throughout the time. Like it just it shows a extreme lack of healing. I will say, um, because I just feel like I just feel like there had to be better ways to resolve whatever it is we had going on at the same time. I mean, at this time, like
Yeah,
yeah, I just like, there's there's a TikTok creator, um, I of course can't remember her name, but basically she does like she shows videos of like people presenting food at potlucks, and then she like judges them, saying like pear anguish or the keys to the city, depending on how good the dish is. Um, one, she's saying all these when the dish is terrible, and she comes up with like a punishment. Like it's funny, but at a certain point, you're like, damn, how many freaking ways to torture people have you come up with?
wow. Yeah,
Because it's like, you know,
yeah,
yeah. So,
yeah.
and then it's like, well, again, we just want to talk to somebody, like how far beyond slapping the shit out of somebody have we come? Or like that just
So when did
when
that stop
when
being
did
tough?
when did it stop?
Right?
Yeah, it's because it's like again at my angriest, I would never think of these contraptions.
Exactly.
Like let
Exactly.
me strap somebody to a board and like drip water on them until they go insane, or like
That's great.
let me strap someone to a board, put a towel over their face, and like just pour water, like to not to make them drown, but to make them feel like they're drowning, because we don't want to drown them.
Right.
That's too fucking much. But we want to feel like we're drowning.
Right. Right.
Like I
Gosh.
I again, I don't mean to turn it into like a breakdown on torture, but it's just to show you gotta be an unhealed person to like even to even think of these things. And it's like a lot of these things were like done like invented centuries ago.
Yeah.
So like just to let you know just how far back we've been fucked up. Like it's
Yeah.
like it's not like this
Let's start.
this ain't like Like, drawn and quartered, waterboarding, pair of anguish. Look that up. None of these start with like the year 19. It's not 19 nothing. It's
Wow.
like it
Wow.
goes back, and it's just like you can be kind of half joking about it, but it's like, yo, what were y'all? How did y'all resolve problems back then? It's like,
Right.
because it's like, yeah, just the sheer amount of the methods and the devices. It's like, damn, y'all ain't talk at all.
Yes, I was gonna say no
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
just
Uh,
having to sit down, just wasn't an option at all.
uh,
Just wasn't
no.
even on the table. Like, I wouldn't think to throw fire at somebody. You wouldn't think to just have a sit down with somebody and talk to them. Like that's where we are.
Right.
Like,
Right. Exactly.
like,
Mm.
and thank God, we're in a place where none of these things, well, most of these things aren't happening. But again, like, you have to, the fact that you have to put a law in place not to do these things kind of tells you where we are also. But,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
hopefully, our healing will continue as we progress.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I bet you weren't expecting that, family. Talk, discussion on the healing turned into a discussion on torture. Hey, that's how we do. You never know where we're gonna go, but it all ties back.
It all ties
Sure.
in.
It all-
All been for that we just go wherever we go. You know what I mean?
Yes, I'm curious to see how this clip plays out. Let me do it.
Yeah, this will be interesting. This will be very.
Yeah,
I want to see too.
yeah, especially that flamethrower one. I'm curious to see how that is.
Yeah,
You know.
we'll see.
Yeah, but before we get out of here, Shay, why don't you go ahead and hit us with the hard truth of the week?
Yes, yes. So let's talk about the hard truth of the week. So here's the hard truth. Some people don't miss you. They miss the version of you that didn't require them to grow. Healing changes the ecosystem, and not everyone survives the shift.
Hmm. Once again, Shay dropping gems.
That's the hard truth, folks.
Yes. I think I'm gonna just like when she does that, I'm gonna just be like, I'm gonna do this because that's what it is. Just yeah. No, I'm gonna do it like what's it do with Salt Bay? I'm just be like this, every time, every time she do that, you know. The Salt Bay, it's gonna be Jim Bay, just dropping gems like that. Oh, just
That's how we do it.
how you doing. But hopefully, you enjoyed this episode. If you did, let us know. Leave us a comment. Give us 5 stars. Don't forget to subscribe to the
Yes.
podcast. Let us know where you are on your healing journey and kind of how folks are reacting to you on your healing journey. We definitely will hear it.
We want to hear it.
Until next time, take your peace seriously, and we're out.